our meeting going to the City of Jefferson Public Works and Planning Committee. We'll kind of commence with introductions, but unless somebody online would like to introduce themselves. Guess online. All right, Chair would entertain a motion of approval of the August 8, 2024 committee meeting minutes. So moved.
Second.
Councilman Spicer, seconded from Councilman Lester. All those in favor? Oh, okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Moving to item 3, citizen opportunity to address council committee and stormwater on public works issues. You might be the only one. Good morning, and state your name.
Jerry James. I live at 2009 Redwood Drive in Jeff City. I was here last month on August the 8th about an issue of stormwater runoff out of the cul-de-sac on Birch Drive into my yard. So here I am again. I'm requesting something in writing from an email that was sent to David Bangy on May the 17th from Central Missouri Professional Services Civil Engineering Group. He also didn't get a response on that. He sent it May the 30th. Follow-up email June the 11th, still nothing. Had a meeting with Matt on July 1. He said he was going to get me something, still nothing. Came back up here on August the 8th. Told you guys I had a problem. I'm asking for help. Central Missouri Professional has given me some advice and say, hey, this is what I think. I think they sent it. I've got copies of the email, but everybody else, I know David and Matt has them. Brian has it. No, just a second. They have them. It's the city standards. They did come out. I want something in writing to Cody Darr at Central Missouri Professional Services, which he'll copy me. You guys can copy me on what responsibility it is for the city and what they can do about the stormwater exiting the cul-de-sac onto my property.
Don did draft a letter back to you this week, and I actually signed it. I don't know if you did.
Can I get that? Can we read that today while I'm here?
I don't know where it is.
Well, we can find it. Somebody's got it.
I'm not going to read it today, no.
Can you tell me what the lag has been?
We can talk after the meeting.
But I'm here now because I shouldn't have to come up here to this meeting like this.
Well,
And frankly, Matt, I don't want to talk to you because you're a man who speaks with a forked tongue. I don't want to talk to you about it. You had an opportunity on July 1, and Mr. Don sat in there. He's my witness, and you said, you want that, you want that, they're wrong, we're in the right, I'll get it to you. And this is September the 12th. It shouldn't take a constituent to come up here and do this. I'm asking for help. What the city is willing to do, what their part is in it, because the water is essentially escaping out of the street.
It was my understanding, and I won't speak for the whole committee, but I thought we had an understanding that you would have gotten the correspondence that you requested, but it sounds like you didn't, but it's on its way.
It just drafted this week.
Signed this week.
I called up here to talk to Brian Crane Monday. I think he was out of the office, and then I called again, left a message, because I was going to try to talk to him about it, so here I am now. I'd like to discuss it. I'd like to see what's in the letter. While I'm here, not wait another month, because I've waited long enough. They milled the streets. They said, David said, I got it, all my notes from him. They're going to mill the street. They're going to take it back down. You'll get some curb height. They're going to fix the curbs. The driveway apron approach was the responsibility of the homeowner. This is not in writing. I've been told to build a berm by Dawn. Some of those things could be in writing to me on what the city has said, this is what you need to do, and we don't have any accountability of it. Because I'm going to put a wall in, but if water keeps coming, I'm not gonna stop the water coming from the road. And I don't take care of the road, but you guys do.
Did the curb that was damaged due to the blacktop overlay, did that get repaired?
The neighbors had a piece after they milled it, we had a big rain, a piece just physically moved out in the street. They put some there, I think a section about like that.
But there was a section in front of your house though that got damaged.
Oh yeah, they did that. They came and did that.
That repaired.
Yeah.
Any other questions regarding Mrs. James's issue this morning? While she's here, instead of waiting for it to be mailed, is there a way that she can go down to the office?
Yeah. I think Donna's downstairs. She asked the desk to speak to him.
To get that letter directly while you're here this morning.
Okay. Do you know what the outcome is of the letter?
It's
If you drafted it?
reiterating what we've told you in person. We've been there.
But is there a response to Central Missouri Professional Services on their plan and their standards, your standards that he sent you guys on what could be done to
We would
fix
be
it?
glad to talk to Central Missouri directly if they want to. They haven't contacted us. We sent you a letter.
They sent David an email. David, why would you not answer them?
We talk to them every
Why,
day.
I'm asking David,
It doesn't
why would
matter.
you not answer them?
I was out sick when that email came in, and by the time I came back, there were other people who were already involved in that conversation.
And even with the follow-up email where he says, hey, what's the status on it?
By that point in time, we've had multiple conversations with you. I suppose we had considered that to be sufficient.
I don't feel it's sufficient. I'm asking for a written response to them, not talk to them. I want it in writing. That way, somebody's gonna have to be accountable because I can put my wall in and stuff, and when it still comes barreling down there, we're gonna have to come back and talk again. So, and you won't be here, you're gonna retire, so.
Yeah, and I think I gave you some very good advice about your doorway and your grading.
What advice did you give me about the low spot, the street, where it's
I'm not
coming through?
arguing This meeting, this isn't.
I'm not arguing, I'm asking you what advice did you give me there?
We have a letter.
It's crickets. I'll just sit and wait till the meeting's over. I appreciate your time.
Or if your time is.
I'm gonna do a sunshine request. I want the emails that are flying back and forth up here because I'm tired. Again, I'm tired. I don't know what kind of outfits, what's going on up here. This is the city of Jefferson. You've got constituents, you've got taxpayers, you've got people up here asking for help, and you won't put it in writing, and it takes this long. I had to hire somebody else to say, hey, this might be something that can be done. They send you your standards, the cheapest and maybe quickest, easiest way to fix it, and then I don't get nothing but, well, I mean, if the berm is supposed to be built, like Dawn said, why doesn't the city come out and build the berm? It's in the right of way. We're talking about from here to here where this issue is.
Let me have,
Thank you.
James, if you want to, instead of waiting for
Yeah,
this
I'm good
meeting
at
to be
this.
over,
Yeah.
you can, Mr. Fontaine, I think is right behind you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments from the public this morning? Moving to new business. Wildwood Drive update from Mr. Bainey, Landwehr, County Public Works.
Yeah, so we are getting close. Eric and I probably talk a little bit more about the actual schedule and timing, but we brought today just some drawings of what the roadway is looking like. And so what you see on the left-hand side of the screen is the intersection with West Edgewood Drive. And so currently there's a a traffic signal at that intersection, but there'll have to be some additional work that gets done there. Add some heads to the arm that doesn't have any heads on it, and some improvements to the ADA since the requirements have changed since that was first installed. So certainly some work there. And then the next, what you see on the screen, oops, pushing the wrong button. There we go. I think that's working. But you see there's actually a bridge structure that goes across the creek here. And so that's another something that has changed, since the plans were first developed, back 15 years ago. New core regulations, and that was actually defined as a floodplain through there. So that bridge, some redesign happened there. And ultimately, the road kind of follows up through the valley. You can kind of see we're also looking at the construction of a greenway trail that goes along. The roadway, originally 15 years ago, was planned as a curb and guttered street with sidewalks. And so as a cost-saving measure, we've removed the curb and gutter from the street. And so in order to provide for that pedestrian accommodation, we've added this greenway trail. And so that goes in part, or goes in connection with the agreement that we have with John Farr, because there would be some additional easements and whatnot that needs to happen for that trail. So as you go further up the road, you can see it kind of, again, continues to follow the creek here. Ultimately, a large box culvert gets built. Again, that's something that we had to work with the Corps of Engineers on to get the permits for that. And then ultimately, in this area is where it crosses. I think this is the line between the current city boundary and the county boundary. So it continues then, begins to go up the hill. And ultimately ties into Frog Hollow Road. So Frog Hollow comes up and kind of makes a sweeping 90. So that road will be tied into West Edgewood Drive at that point. The water tower, if you're familiar, sits right here. And then ultimately to the intersection with Rock Ridge Road, where there's going to be a roundabout that's constructed. And so in general, that's kind of what the project entails. It follows the same alignment that was established back 15 years ago. Was it, Eric?
Yeah, roughly, yeah.
Yeah. So but then I'll let Eric. You want to talk a little bit about timing and otherwise. So
yeah, just a couple more things to add to what David said. So if you look, the Greenway Trail, as David said, this was going to be a curb and gutter project, and they would have had sidewalk along it. Scaling back the design to maybe fit the area a little bit better. It's a nice wooded area, kind of goes up through the valley. Scaling it back to cut some costs back led to us doing a Greenway Trail extension along the corridor, and it'll kind of follow the creek. It'll parallel the road to some extent, but more or less just kind of follow the creek. It'll kind of fit along there nicely, and it'll have connections to street intersections that are planned with the development. And then if you look right here, you can see the shading gets maybe a little darker. We're going to bid an alternate to take it on up the hill. If prices come in good, the county may accept that, and we would cover that cost. And then the roundabout did make some changes to that. Just some standards, national standards on roundabout design have changed since we started the project originally. So working with David, we came up with some not huge changes. If you saw the before and after, you wouldn't really notice anything, but in the engineer and design world, it'll be significant. So I think that's about it on the design of the project. Going on to, there's a few other slides in there. Grant, if you want to change those.
you want the outline?
Yeah, okay, here's the schedule. So as we're sitting right now, we're going to have this out for bid next month, October 20th. There's a few things that have to happen between now and then. We have a utility coordination meeting. We have been coordinating with utilities through the process, but this would be a more formal, kind of get everybody in the same room and find out exactly what they're going to do through the corridor. For sure, we know there's water relocation and some things up at the roundabout. There's talk that they may be interested in taking it on down the hill, but that would be on them. Some of the costs for relocation would have to be paid by the city county or agreement, or the project basically. Looking at how this proceeds from there, so by the county's bidding policies, we would bid and award the project in November. Issue notice to proceed sometime in December. And this all could be variable. We actually could possibly bid the project a little sooner, kind of how we're tracking right now, but for sure we will have this awarded by the end of the year. Construction would start kind of at the contractors. That would be their decision when to start, but we know this tree clearing through the corridor has to be done by the 1st of April. So that for sure will start. Most likely scenario is, and we haven't finalized the exact provisions in the plans and the specs to say when they start where and everything, but they'll most likely start down in the bottom area, do the grading and excavation to build the fill, and then do the roundabout during the summer months when school's out of session, because there is a school bus route along Frog Hollow and through there. So we want to make sure that we're not disrupting the school bus patterns any more than we have to. So we can put in the contract certain provisions to make sure that they get done, and if they don't, then there's liquidated damages applied to that. And then and the next file, and we don't probably need to go into too much detail, but we do have an updated estimate. The price has grown a little bit due to some things, but the timing of bidding this project is pretty favorable for us. If you bid it early, in a situation like this, contractors can plan and have things laid out for the next year. It's in town, it's local, we have local contractors interested for sure, so we think we're going to get a pretty good price at the end of the day. So budget-wise and how this is being paid for, the council has on the agenda Monday to approve the city-county cooperative agreement. In that agreement, there's $2 million coming from each city and county, and then the county will pick up the additional costs for the roundabout. We're putting funds for that, and then we have some major thoroughfare funds for the rest of it. There's also, as part of the agreement that the city will have with the fair development, there's some sewer expansion, and then that cost would be covered by the city as well. So I think we've covered the basics. I'm glad to say that we're really, really close to having this ready to bid and go to construction. It's been a long time coming.
It has been a long time coming, and from Councilman Spicer and now Mayor Fitzwater and my perspective, we were trying to implement this and had initial discussions in our first term.
Mm-hmm.
So the pace of this stuff does take some time because there's a lot of moving parts, obviously. And I really do appreciate the consideration that you all are taking into account with the school district here, with the potential impacted bus routes. I mean, that is a big deal for parents. That is a big deal for the school district in case they have to reroute, and that would be additional costs. So it's really nice that we're really expanding our discussions and our view with other entities that are impacted by a major development like this. And that's really why me and Councilman Spicer really try to push this forward, and with your help too, Eric. You've been a great partner in this, and obviously taking the lead on this project, and because it's an economic impact, right? It's a future pathway for expansion for the city of Jefferson, and you as the county really didn't look at it as, well, this is a way for the city to grow. Maybe we shouldn't be so supportive of it, but you've been very outwardly supportive of it, and knowing what's good for the county is good for the city, and what's good for the city is good for the county. And we really do appreciate that partnership, and city staff working on this as well. So, Councilman Spicer,
I just want to say thanks for all your hard work on that. I mean, I think we're farther than you've ever been, to get it done. It's great to be able to work with the county and know that it's something positive is going to happen. The outcome of it, it's going to help everyone when it's all done. But I really appreciate it. Thank you.
It's been a good project. It initially started off in the county as just going to be a county project. Then at some point in time, maybe about 10 years ago, city and county leaders decided to be a cooperative project, but nothing really happened until about a year and a half ago. And then we brought the city in as far as the plan development or redevelopment of the plan. So David and I and our county engineer Matt Bringer meeting with CMPS throughout the process, just to make sure that we know at some point, the city's going to continue to grow. So we want to make sure this road's going to be designed for something that the city would want to be in their system and take care of, after it moves on. So it's been a good process.
no turning back.
Nope. All right, thank you all.
Thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So A few things. Whenever we do the clearing of the trees, is that going to be like, what's the word? Used for lumber? I can't think of the word right now. Can that
Could
be
be.
sold to?
It really just depends on the contractor, how they want to do it. Sometimes, depending on what kind of logs are in there, if there's good trees, they may have somebody come in and log it. That can happen. Again, it just depends on what the trees are and what kind of value there is. Sometimes they'll just do the clearing of it and then they'll grind it up, use it for mulch. We see that quite a bit, maybe mulch in erosion control and other things. So.
And is there a plan to replant some of that after it's cut? You know, once the road is there, are we going to put some of that back? Because that's going to have a significant impact.
Generally speaking, when we build a roadway, we don't want a big tree canopy over the pavement itself. So the right of way we would keep clear of any trees. However, through the greenway area, some of that will be disturbed just through construction, and then the sewer runs along that same corridor as well. I could envision as time goes on, maybe replanting some trees similar to the greenway along West Edgewood. You know, as time went on, there's been a lot of different trees. I know there's a lot of memorial trees that Parks takes care of and everything. It would probably be similar to that. So.
Thank you for the update this morning.
Thank you.
All right. Item B, solid waste contract.
Good morning. So our current solid waste contract is a 10-year contract that is in effect through May 31st of 2026. We looked back at the last time that we put out an RFP for solid waste and saw that there was about an 18-month timeline process. So we wanted to introduce that process today to kind of kick off. We will spend, within your packet, you have the existing contract, as well as a timeline that staff is proposing to gather data, issue requests for proposals, and then eventually approve a solid waste service provider. So within your packet, you have draft surveys and a proposed timeline. Really for the rest of 2024, where staff are proposing to kind of gather public input. So we've got surveys, we'll have public engagement processes. And what we're hoping to glean from that is not necessarily the satisfaction of the current solid waste contractor, but more of the services that citizens are requesting to be provided. Are they satisfied with their current services for trash and recycling efforts? Do they have gaps? What do we need to provide as a community for that? So for the rest of 2024, we're proposing to gather that input. 2025 is when we'll start working on building out a scope of services for the request for proposals, taking that survey and that public engagement input and putting it into the request for proposals, and then working to hopefully have a solid waste provider under contract by the end of 2025, which would give us 6 months to bridge the gap between the current contract and the new contract. And this is information only, and I'd be happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Well, something from my constituents would be advocating for is a second large bulky pickup season, maybe in the fall. I know that we talked about that before, but that is a need, I'm sure, citywide, not just in the third ward. And I know the previous council did a lot of the heavy lifting for our trash service to extend the life of the landfill, and I know they're going through that process currently. So that'll be something. And could our public information coordinator, could we get this survey online on our Facebook post? Thank you very much. I appreciate that. That'll give them some opportunity to have some input.
I reviewed over the survey here. Yard waste is also considered solid waste, correct?
Correct, but it cannot be collected at the landfill. Well, it can't be incorporated in your regular trash. Like, it would have to be a separate service.
Okay, well, some communities do that. I understand what you're doing here now because it has to do with the trash company, not just, okay. Very good, thank you for the.
But is that a possibility, though, to add just a little survey question, being that it's not tied in with the current contract services, but just so that citizens can have some input on our yard waste? Now that we've had a change in model and service provider as far as the delivery of it, I think we're getting a lot more use of it, and I think our citizens are more satisfied with the hours of operation. But anytime we can get more data on that service, I would appreciate that as well. So.
Is there a point where you will want council feedback on what would be part of the negotiations?
So, not on the negotiations, as it's a request for proposals, but for building out the scope of services. So what we put in, so we'll build out a work scope of what we want to create that menu that you can choose from, and that's when we would want input.
So just wait, I guess.
We'll gather, so the goal is to gather as much data as we can to give council and you all, the decision makers. That way you have as much information as you need to make a decision.
Yeah, just one note on process. So of course, Ms. Cinzy with Neighborhood Services is part of PPS, and PPS activities generally report to this committee. However, the trash contract by city code actually is an issue for the administration committee. So today is information, but the committee work that kind of will be wrapped up in this process will go through the administration committee. So just kind of wanted to, it's a little bit different because PPS usually comes here, but city code says the solid waste contract actually goes through the administration. So just a note on process.
And we have relationships with that committee that we can kind of maybe have dual track coordination of that as well. So. Yes, sir.
As far as that code, is that something that we should continue doing, adjust, or maybe look at changing?
That is up to the council.
Thanks.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. All right, up next is MSP wall removal change order. Mr. Helmick.
Thank you. So we're going to give a quick update on some of the MSP project. What we're looking for is support of this committee to move to full council with a change order for removal of portions of the MSP wall. These sections of the wall are the highlighted in maybe not. All right, so highlighted in orange on the map that you see there, those sections of the wall would be removed to below grade the material that comes out of that. If it's usable material, meaning that the large wall stones will be stored on another section of the MSP site, anything that's not usable then will be used for fill for either Chestnut or the other projects in the area. The section that's outlined in red, those are debris fill or sites that the state has put the previous wall that fell down during the tornado. The back section along the Union Pacific Railroad there is where the wall blew out during the tornado. Those sites would be cleaned up as well. The reason we're looking at doing this would open up the site for the redevelopment of the River Market project, and then also get rid of the hazards of that debris being on site. Being that this project, we're looking to do it as a change order to the existing contract we had for the Saddle Tree demo. The project's actually coming in at about 50% of what our original thoughts were. So we're getting a very good price on the project, and this would help us get ready for the next phases that's going to happen down there. Besides that, guard towers. The guard tower on Chestnut, which is halfway down between the end of Chestnut Street and the gas chamber, that's kind of the cutoff point. You can see that's where the orange starts. It would go down to the corner, over past the Sally Port. The chain link fence that's there from where the wall got blown out by the tornado would all be removed and graded. And then that guard tower right there that's not highlighted in orange would remain. And then the sectional wall past that would be removed as well. So it would really open up the area and allow for the future redevelopment. What we're looking for is this committee's support to move forward to council.
Councilman Spicer has made a motion to move this change order request to full council's second on that.
Yeah. I'll go ahead and second it.
Can we do a roll call vote on that, please?
Ogleton,
Aye.
Rose,
Aye.
Lester,
Aye.
Spicer,
Aye.
Spencer.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate your time. Item D, 179 sewer extension or connection. Mr. Seaman.
Thanks, Mr. Chairman. So this would be informational. Staff's proceeding with design to connect sanitary sewer on the east side of 179 to that which will be served on the west side of 179. So we'll be back with construction contract at some point. Just this is the design and the easements, and that's everything can be done in-house. So we're proceeding with that.
Anyone have any questions on regarding that?
There's a diagram in the packet.
And for reference, this is in hopes to address some of the issues on Northwood Drive. Some of the residents who have some interest in hooking up to city sewer. So. Any questions? Okay, well, we'll just look forward to some additional information regarding that. Thank you, sir. Item E, annexation. That was one of the items I had requested staff to add on the agenda today. I just would like to, for us to get to hopefully convey to staff of developing a strategy for annexation, whether that is volunteer annexation of some potential areas in our community and propose future annexation development. This is, I think staff would like us as a committee to kind of give them some encouragement to pursue that, those areas within our community.
Whenever you say you'd like to develop an annexation strategy, is that how we annex or is that what we annex?
It is, I envision as both, because they kind of go hand in hand. There is some voluntary annexation opportunities from my understanding, which is a much easier process. And then what I call proposed annexation, that would be areas within this close to the city boundaries that are not all volunteer strategies. So that would be involving the voters of the proposed annexation area. But again, I think we need to make sure that we're cognizant of the fact that annexation strategy needs to be, making sure that doesn't put undue burden on our current resources and our current services that we provide.
Right. We need to do so responsibly.
Exactly, responsible annexation growth. So, so my purpose for this would be for the chair to entertain a motion for to give staff some direction of developing those two types of annexation strategies, and then to either come back and report to this committee, or we can convene the whole annexation committee, which is the council as a whole. So.
Chairman Spencer.
Yes, sir.
Can I just say something? So,
Absolutely.
in the past, I know annexation usually was going out into the county, unincorporated parts of the county. And I think from our standpoint, in the county, and especially mine in Public Works, maintaining the county roads. If the city's going to annex out into the county areas, if we can work with you all to know those areas in advance, and what we don't want to give you a road that's in really poor condition, expecting you all to take on a big maintenance burden. So if we know these things, we might be able to adjust some of our, pavement preservation or maintenance or whatever to make sure roads are overlaid in advance of that. So just kind of keep us informed as to where you're hitting on that, and then we can just adjust as needed. So we're happy to do that. I think it's part of the whole community if we can be a part of that and just make sure that we're not giving you all something that is going to add to already, tax resources. So
We appreciate that as well.
Yeah.
So, like I said, Chair, would entertain a motion to Councilman Spicer. So,
Point of discussion, I guess. I believe that this should include the entirety of the annexation committee. But yeah, I'll
But
second
this
it
committee
for-
has to, it's our responsibility to.
Oh, we see it first and then it goes.
Well, to ask staff to engage in these activities is what
Oh,
I'm.
sorry, I got ahead of myself. Yes, absolutely, I'll second that.
Can you repeat the motion, please?
The motion is basically for city staff to look at annexation opportunities, whether that is voluntary annexation or what I call proposed annexation. Could I get a roll call vote on that, please?
Hazelton,
Aye?
Job,
Aye.
Lester,
Aye.
Spicer,
Aye.
Spitzer.
Aye. All right, guys. I was contacted by Councilman Allers on an issue to be raised this morning, and if there was any update. Carl Lane.
Yeah, I actually talked to Russ Rackers, our street supervisor, about it yesterday. They're getting with a contractor to schedule point repair, which involves digging up a piece of the yard. So that's coming in the next week or so.
And then another issue that was brought up at a previous council meeting by myself was the Ridgeway Drive with the water main break. Been quite a few calls, even as recently as last week, about where we are in the construction phase. I know that's not really our we don't have much role into that because it's American Water damage, and they're kind of taking care of it. But
Right, so they actually came in, I believe it was on Tuesday, and got a right-of-way permit to begin that work, and it indicated that they were perhaps going to start on it yesterday. I don't know if they've actually done so or not, but that was
I will contact
was on Tuesday.
my scouts on that. That's been calling me.
Okay.
We'll find out for sure. So, all right, thank you. So it's well on its way as far as starting and completion. Thank you. Any other business?
Mr. Rash, did you get the chance to have a look at Scenic yet, or is that on the to-do list?
Yeah, it has been looked at, and when they're moving, so they're finishing up some work where they're at now over in Edgewood, but they'll be moving into that area that's close to Carl Lane, and also they're going to do some work on David Street, I think.
All right. Folks would love to hear that. Thank you.
Yeah.
Any other old business to discuss? Okay. Item 6, reports, the project status update.
Yeah, so we heard about Wildwood, and it's coming out very, very soon, but sooner than that is the Main Road Street. So that will be advertised in the paper on Sunday. And so we'll have that project slightly in advance of the Wildwood project. So those are probably the two big ones. Some of the other work that's going on is the continuation of the pipelining project. So now that the weather is getting cooler, we'll have the opportunity to line some of those stormwater pipes like Carl Lane. We've been focused mainly on the smaller sanitary sewer pipes, which are easier to line in warm weather. So that project is underway. We've been working on a couple of stormwater projects, most particularly the one on Franklin Street. And so that we're actually looking at the possibility of change ordering that work into another contract. So that might be coming to the council very soon. We finished up a couple of things. The demo of the News Tribune building is finished. And certainly there's work that's happening now on Miller Street in association with the sewer line. I think actually the work that's currently happening is the installation of a new water main, but the sewer line will follow right behind that with the same contractor. So I'd be happy to answer any questions.
As it relates to the, excuse me, the News Tribune site, we've added app parking in that area. Have we seen an increase in app users or signups?
I'm not certain about an increase. I'd have to check, but you know, it's not very well utilized at this point. But this is our low parking time, and but generally speaking, I think it was somewhere close to 50% of the meters were being used per app already. That was last January.
So maybe that's
I don't know, lately it could have went up or down, but you know, that was encouraging that 50% of the people want to use the app.
maybe that's another piece that our public information coordinator will add on when we start entering our heavy use of parking downtown, that's available. I know the newspaper did an article on it, we appreciate it, but any other time we can maybe push some of that information out to. Of course, it's only app parking. That's the public needs to understand that as well. We're not going to invest hard-earned tax dollars to put in meters on something that is really a temporary site, quite frankly.
Yeah, that was the goal, just to get it up and running.
Councilman Lester.
When can we expect some action on Monroe Street?
So the bids will be advertised on Sunday, and so that is a 2-week process. And so I would imagine that in November that the construction contract would come before the council. And I think the idea would be that the contractor would then be free to begin work at any time that they would be able to mobilize. So I would assume that sometime January-ish for sure, there would be the beginnings of that project, which would probably start with the rock work along the bluffs on both sides. There is some utilities that need to be located. There's, if you look actually on the western side of the street, there's rather substantial electric poles that are overhead with large 3-phase power on them, and so I think there's 5 of those poles that have to get relocated. So that will take some time in order to accomplish that as well.
And so once they start the completion, you expect?
I would expect by the end of the summer that the project would be finished, the end of the summer of 25.
Thank you. Long time coming.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed. All right. Any other comments? Motion to adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.